So, hey, welcome to Tawana Talks. And yeah, so, I usually start the episode with some story or revelation that I've had through my parenting of my daughter. And if you've been listening for a while, I have three children. The two are grown, and then I have the one who is 9 during the time of this season, and throughout the seasons, I think, whatever year it was, she's been growing up and through these seasons, and I've been growing up through the seasons as well. I often say that my first two made me mom, and my third one, second, I can't count, and my third one, she shows me mom. She shows me who I am every single day, and so I'm so grateful for all of my children and the lessons that I've learned through parenting them. And this is taking me to a deeper level, parenting this one because it's in a different season, different time, and things are different. But I say all that to say, of course, I have a story. And it's one particular morning where I am making provisions for later in the day. So my daughter joined drama club, and she is has drama practice after school on Wednesdays. And so, of course, it is in order to have a snack for after school activities because it's a long day, right? You got breakfast, you got lunch, and then you're after school. And typically, when she comes home after school, she has a snack while doing her homework. And so, of course, it's snack time. And her brain is programmed that way, which most children are, right? And so, after school, during drama, she has this snack. And it's, oftentimes not a big deal of what snack are you going to take, but it's just remembering that, oh, yeah, this is Wednesday. We need to have a snack. Now, it should not be an issue because my daughter, if you've heard any other episode, she prepares like it is about to be the end of the world and she has a bunker somewhere. Like I think that her and Branch from Trolls are related because somewhere hidden, I believe she has a bunker, preparing for if the world ever ends. She's prepared. And this behavior all started like really during the pandemic where she had this preparatory mindset for the most part. But I'm also like that. Like I like to prepare just in case. Now, I don't keep a stash of goodies somewhere just in case the store is closed down and I need to get a goodie fix, right? But she does. Every she goes outside, she packs a backpack full of snacks as if the house is going to have a Dorothy Wizard of Oz episode in the midst of her playing, and there will be no place like home, and she'll need her snacks. But I say all that to say that when it's time to have a snack, she usually has this whole ordeal of what are we going to do. And so this particular morning, I'm thinking, being in my good mom mindset, that I'm going to go ahead and prepare the snack for after school. And so I'm like, oh, do you want some popcorn? And she's like, oh, the teacher said we can't have popcorn. I'm like, no, I don't think you can pop it there, but I think you can pack it there. So I'll pop it now, pop it, pack it so that you can have it. And she's like, no, she said we can't have it because the popcorn gets everywhere. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking, I think we can pop the popcorn. I think it won't get everywhere because any other snack can get everywhere, just like chips and goldfish and all the things. But I listened to her and I said, okay, well, let's make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. To which she responds, I don't want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So like I'm like running out of ideas here, right? Because these are quick fixes. So I'm like, I just go to proceed to make it anyway because I'm thinking in my mom experience that she will eat the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She'll have it. She'll be hungry. She'll eat it. Right now, it's a big ordeal because her mind is racing, thinking about all of the things that she wants that she could have. And she typically, and this is typical with neurodivergent children, they think about what they're missing out on as opposed to what they're gaining. They can't see sometimes past that or see the value in the current because their brain is always thinking and they're thinking past that. And so she's already thinking about the things. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna make you a peanut butter jelly sandwich. You'll be fine. You'll get there. So I just like kind of ignore her and I start making the sandwich. And she's like, I said, I don't want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I'm like, okay. Like, still like, whatever. I'm thinking, let me get past this. If we could just get you to the promised land to school, everything will be fine. And she's like, why can't I just buy a snack in school and use that snack? And I'm like, no, because I'm thinking in my mind, you're thinking of getting a snack like a cookie or an ice cream, which you can't save for after school. I tried that in the second grade and it didn't work out. So I know that that doesn't happen. Um, and that's a story for another day. But and a cookie is not a snack for after school of substance to eat. That's your dessert for lunch. And so no. But I don't feel like I have to explain all that. I'm just like, no. And so then she's like, I don't want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She's like, and then she says this, and I quote, I don't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. To which then I had a flashback to just the day before we were talking about peanut butter and jelly or something, how it came up. And she said, yeah, I'll have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it wasn't about drama. It was something else. Like, I think it was like, when I get home, you think I should eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for a snack or something like that. Whatever happened, peanut butter and jelly came up the day before, and I remembered. And I said, I had to like put a pause in the current episode of our life and was like, hey, let's rewind back to yesterday's episode of life. And I specifically remember when you said something about peanut butter and jelly, and I responded, you do not like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, to which you responded, yes, I do. And I said, since when? You've not eaten them and you've told me before that you do not like them. And she said, I do like them and I will eat them. Sam, I am. And so she didn't say the Sam, I am part, but you get my point. So I brought that back to her memory, hoping to help that jog the insanity plea that she was developing in this moment. And I said, do you remember that? Do you remember you said you like them? Now all of a sudden you don't like them? Like, this cannot be real life. And she just looks at me. So I was like, whatever. I continue making the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And she says, why are you doing this to me? Something like that. Like, I'm paraphrasing how this episode went, but this is pretty much pretty accurate. And so I said, hey, let's stop for a moment. I am making you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to help you. Me making the peanut butter and jelly sandwich is not a plight to ruin your life. Like, I am not fixing you a after school snack to ruin your life. I am fixing you an after school snack to help sustain your life. And she's just looking at me like I'm the crazy one because I'm trying to do something to help her. And then I had to remind her of last week's episode of Life, where I did pack a snack and her lunch was already packed. And I know in a previous episode I talked about not packing lunches, but this was a time that I backslid. I had a slipping moment and I did pack her lunch and I packed her snack because, I'm mom. And so I packed all the things. And when I got her from school, from drama club, she proceeds to tell me she's starving and she could not wait the 9-minute commute from school to home because she was literally about to die because she's so starving. And I'm like, why are you starving? You had a snack. And she's like, oh, I ate that snack during lunch. I'm like, you ate your lunch snack and your drama club snack? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, and why would you do that? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, that would explain the reason why you're starving. I'm like, don't eat your drama club snack during your lunch. She's like, well, I didn't know which one to choose. I said, well, how about we just pack the same snack for both? That way you know which one is drama and which one is lunch. I didn't think I had to label it. I thought that you would possibly just say, I want to eat this one for lunch and this is the one I'll say for drama or whatever. But no, so you're starving. So now back to this episode. Let's fast forward and get back to real life, real time. And I said, so if you notice, I am preparing so that you are not starving after school like you were last week. So for this week. And then she proceeds to tell me, no, I'm sorry. Let me stop before I go get ahead of myself. I then says, and excuse me for being a good mom and trying to prepare this for you. But don't worry, I won't prepare it. You don't want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? That's on you. All right, don't eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'll eat it for breakfast. No problem. Just trying to be a good mom and help you. To which then she responds, get this, let me get a sip of my tea. A good mom would just listen to what I'm telling her I don't want. I said, oh, excuse me. You would know what a good mom is because you've raised how many children? I'll wait. None. You've raised no children. So therefore, you cannot tell me what a good mom should do. No children. Zero children. Three children. Whose favors? Whose odds are in favor here? Tell me this, right? So we're completely both of our cortisol levels are now here. We're completely done. Now I've eaten the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She doesn't want it. Fine, no problem. You don't have the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You'll figure it out. All the things. Now I'm going back to why do I even get myself crazy and prepare these things if you already know? Why do I put myself in the situation of all of this? So I need to follow my own advice in this moment. So I was like, you know what? No problem. Fine. You'll figure it out. All right. So then as we everything calmed down and we're calm and later on she's gone and I start to think and reflect like what could I have done differently in that, because I'm like, God, you can give me more than I can bear. You don't give me more than I can bear, so therefore what is it that you want me to see and who do you want me to be in this? Help me so for the next time. And so I start to reflect, which is what we often do after the fact, not in the moment. And I thought, in that, she has never been a mom, but who she has been is herself all of her life. And so what she does know is what things feel like to her. What she does know is what a good mom feels like to her, what a mom feels like to her. So I started to think, I cannot give her what I feel like she needs from me as a good mom. Now, I don't say that, let me say that, tread lightly with that when I say need. Like, she needs certain things to sustain her life, and I need to give her those things whether she wants them or not, like vegetables and, sleep, those types of things. But I'm talking about in this particular instance with regards to me doing the other things because I think that it is what a good mom should do if she's not receiving that as a good mom for her. I have to be her mother, her good mother, not a good mother. And what she was trying to tell me is what her good mother looks like and feels like. And so I started to think about um, my thought process of like the dating scene. Like, I don't like flowers, like, you know, and let me clear that up a little bit. It's not that I don't like the beauty and the nature of flowers. I love going to see them. I love how they color the earth and how beautiful they are in God's creation, all of those things. I don't like people to pick them and give them to me. I do not see the value in having picked flowers on my table or given to me. That's not how love, value, adoration is communicated to me. Now, society has taught that giving flowers to a lady in courting season, in holidays and birthdays are things that communicate love and adoration. And so people typically do that. And so if I'm dating and a gentleman caller is courting and he gives me flowers for my birthday or a holiday or just as a term of endearment for adoration, I cannot be angry and upset because that's what society has taught. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now, if I communicate, I don't like flowers and I don't um, receive that as adoration, um, I can then be upset if he still continues to do it because he says, well, this is what it's supposed to look like. And I'm telling you, not to me. So isn't that the same thing that my daughter was telling me? I'm saying this is what a good mom looks like. And she's saying, well, not to me. And so now I need to learn and continue learning and allow her to teach me. Teach me how to love you. Teach me how to be your mom. Teach me how to be a good mom. And this is not to say like we sit down and have a learning session. This is me listening. This is me watching. This is me communicating. This is me receiving what she's saying through her actions and her words. This is me having empathy. So, what does that look like? Let's really just unpack this together. Let's get into it. What my daughter was teaching me in that moment was so much deeper than just a snack preference. She was showing me how to love her in the way that she needed to be loved. And honestly, that's not something I don't think I was ready for at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday while trying to make sure we weren't late for school. But you know what? She wasn't saying I'm a bad mom. She was telling me what being a good mom to her looks like. And that's a huge lesson for us moms, especially for those of us who grew up in a generation, us Gen Xers. Oh, yeah, I'm talking about the seen but not heard crowd. You remember those days. If I'd ever told my mom I don't want peanut butter and jelly, she would have said, well, you're going to eat it or be hungry. And God forbid I expressed any opinions about what made me feel love or um, if I what I didn't like about what she was doing, you would have gotten a look that could have withered a house plant. And in our day, expressing your feelings was practically a revolution and not the good kind. When you flick the switch and you can see light, or you enter the room and you can feel heat, then guess what? That's love. But here's the thing, we're raising a different generation, and our kids want to be seen and they want to be heard, and truthfully, they deserve to be. The Bible does teach us to train up a child in the way that they should go. And that's not just about teaching them the right values, it's also about understanding the unique person God made them to be. It's about guiding them in their way and not just our way. Now, I know that some of us grew up thinking that letting your child have an opinion was like letting them walk over you, but I don't I don't believe that to be true. That's not what this is. The Bible also reminds us that if we what is it? It's be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves, excuse me. And when we listen to our kids' voices and acknowledge their feelings, we're honoring them as individuals that God created them to be. Our children are people before they are anything else. We're humans out here just humaning it. And just because they're little humans don't mean they don't deserve the same respect and value as big humans. Living longer doesn't award you more respect. Like, so let's just like put this into action. Let's think about this as we're, conducting ourselves. I don't know why I spread out that word conducting, why we're conducting ourselves in every relationship, not just ones with our children, but here are 6 practical tips. And yes, there are 6 because 3 was last week. And like, we need to really dig deeper. And so, how do we embrace this journey of being your mother? Or you can take it deeper, being your leader or your boss or your whatever, your wife, your husband, if you're a guy, just so happen to be listening to this. But being the thing that you or the person that you are to someone else. In particular, because this episode is a mom episode, I'm talking to moms, but you can apply this in so many different areas of your life. And so here's the 6. Number 1, listen without assumptions. Okay, so moms, when I say listen, I mean actually listen, not the yeah, I hear you, um, but I'm still doing what I plan to do. Kind of listen, like I was doing when I was making, and I was still making that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. By the way, I don't even remember if I told you I'm the one that ended up eating it for breakfast, so it was my snack. But try to ask questions like, what do you need from me right now? Or how can I help you feel understood? I know some of you are thinking, Tawana, my child is 5 and she just wants more juice. but it's deeper than that. Like, start practicing it now, and you'll be amazed at how much more they trust you, how this becomes a habit, how it becomes natural. A habit really becomes a way of life. And remember, we are raising legacy. So think what this will do for your grandchildren and their children and so on. But even current legacy, what this will do for the relationship of your child when your child is no longer a child, but an adult. What is that going to do for that when you start to facilitate and foster an environment of where your child is being seen, heard, and valued? How's that going to pour over to relationships that they build? Number two, adapt your approach. Gone are the days that one size fits all parenting or anything worked. Just because something worked last week or with your older kids doesn't mean it's going to work today. Trust me, I know. There's an 18-year gap between my oldest and my youngest, and a 15-year gap between my middle and my youngest. Yeah, kids are different, and they were different when it was just a 3-year gap. Things aren't going to be the same they were today as they were yesterday. I like to think about the book of Ephesians because I think that that is a book in the Bible that is the guide for teaching us the blueprint of love. There's so much information in Ephesians about how to do relationship and how to foster a loving environment. And it tells us to not provoke our kids, not to do things in a way that are going to push them to anger and wrath. And so it tells us not to provoke, but yet nurture them. And sometimes it's about um, turkey and cheese. At other times, it's about peanut butter and jelly. It's about drama club worthy meltdowns. It's about school incidents, those different types of things that we typically may think of like roll off your shoulder. It's not even going to be something that matters later in life that you're not even think about, but it is that moment in time where we are nurturing them. And so remember, flexibility is key. And us moms of ADHDers, you should know by now, you have to pivot. Like sometimes in mid sentence, we are always on our toes. And so, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely be equipped and willing to adapt your approach. Know that you have to make some changes. If it's do an assessment, take some data, write a SMART goal, then say, okay, by this time, this is what I want to do and have done, and then gather some data. Okay, something's not working. All right, we got to shift and change. You can't try to fit a square or a round peg into a square hole. Like, you're going to have to pivot and do what works for you and your family, not what worked for you in your family when you were a child, but for you in your family now, or in your relationship or in your business. um, Number three, teach, don't just tell. Remember, like I told you, I was a classroom teacher for some years, and I am a teacher by God's given design. I am glad to say that it is my gift, and my teaching philosophy for learning has always been: if you hear, you may forget. If you see, you may remember, but if you do, you will understand. Just like my daughter was teaching me how to love her, we have to teach them how to love us. We have to model how to have healthy conversations and set boundaries. They pick it up from somewhere, and if they're gonna pick it up, I want them to pick it up from the place where they can be their most authentic selves. That when they make a mistake, I'm gonna be there to catch them and be there to guide and nurture them. So they have to see what healthy conversations and boundaries look like, and they should see that from home. And I'm not saying let your kids be the boss of you. Let's be real. We're still the captains of our ship. We're still the HMIC head moms in charge. But when they see us practice kindness and patience and mutual respect, it teaches them how to do the same. And let's not forget, love is patient, love is kind, it is not self seeking. Real love takes time to learn each other's rhythm and needs. You've been a parent much longer, or you've been you, I should say, much longer than you've been their parent. And you've had to take time to learn you, and so do they. Just because they were born your child doesn't mean they know you, because there was a you before they were there. And so it's a give and take, and it's a relationship. Number four, embrace their interests. You might not understand why your child loves collecting rocks, or why they insist on wearing superhero capes to the grocery store, or why they insist on whatever it is, the thing that they're doing that's not harmful to them, but the thing that they're vested in for that moment, whether it's a hyper focus that'll change in a week, or whether it's an intense focus that has lasted for a very long time. You may not understand it, but guess what? Those quirks are part of who they are. So embrace those interests and engage with them, whether it's watching their favorite show on YouTube. They don't even watch shows anymore now, but whether it's watching their favorite show or attending the recital that lasts forever, showing genuine interest communicates love in a way that they understand. Going to the event, doing the thing, taking some time to really invest and give really does, really, really does build communication and trust. Number five, share your experience, but keep it light. Like, because you still want to value and see them, but you want them to also see you and understand that there was a you before there was a them. And so there's things that built you, and that gives them a better understanding of, who you are as a person, not just as their mom. That's a big thing. And so in sharing your experience, it's important definitely to let our kids express themselves, but don't be afraid to share your experience. Don't be afraid to express, like, how something makes you feel and why it makes you feel that way. That helps them to understand that, feelings are real, and maybe they have a matched feeling. They can understand that it's normal to have that feeling. So share a similar, if they feel a certain way, about a certain situation, and you had that experience too, and you got over it, or you lived through it, you passed through it, don't brush it off like it's a like, oh, this is nothing. You don't put them where you are. Like, this is a thing that's a be water under the bridge and you'll be fine. Put yourself where they are. My daughter always asks me things like, tell me about your childhood, and she gets a kick out of it. So instead of using my childhood example as a manipulative tactic to get her to see the light through with something, like saying something like, if you were me and I was my mom, I would. Yeah, you finish the sentence, because I know we have all recited that phrase almost verbatim. I'm like, if if it was me and my mom was here, she would have never let, whatever, or this is how she would handle this. But I could share, a story of my childhood experience. Like, when I was little, we used to get these free lunches, and these were one of the most popular meals, was peanut butter and jelly on a graham cracker crust. And I could have brought light to that peanut butter and jelly sandwich situation and talked about this scenario and story. This may not have, enticed her to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but it would have created a moment that we could have shared and created a memory. But I tell you, them peanut butter sandwiches on that graham cracker crust with about 2 inches of peanut butter and a very paper thin layer of jelly, it looked like a PB&J ice cream sandwich. The peanut butter would get stuck to your roof of your mouth. But I tell you what, I remember that sandwich. And I don't remember being hungry. In this way, I definitely could have, well, hindsight is 2020 of what I could have, should have done. But just connecting in a way without overshadowing their feelings. Plus, like I said, it'll be a moment, and you'll be able to have a moment of laughter instead of moment of tension, and where your cortisol. And I'm constantly talking about cortisol levels and lowering them. I guess that's a real thing. And when you laugh, it does bring those levels down and allows you to process and get through a moment. And then creating a bond. Remember, we're building legacy. We're looking at, how do I facilitate this relationship now for what I need the relationship or want the relationship to be later, and who doesn't love that? Number 6, and lastly, one of my favorites, celebrate the small wins. This is huge. Celebrate those little victories. Like, we need them because we have spent a lot of time telling ourselves we're not good enough. And mostly it is because we have not stopped to acknowledge the small feats and triumphs. Did your child express their feelings about what they wanted? Celebrate it, because that means you've created an environment where they can feel to be themselves, and an environment where they do have a voice. Did they manage to do their homework without you telling them? Big win. Heck, did you manage to feed them and keep them alive? Winning. But seriously, let them know you see their growth and affirm their efforts too. It might even encourage them to open up to you even more. A little positivity goes a very long way, and you will create a loving environment where they feel valued and heard, and your tension is down, because the environment, the atmosphere has shifted to one that is not thick, but one that is um, clear, fluid, moving through. It's not like a thick molasses that you have to pull and climb through. It's more of a free spirited. I don't want to say free spirited, because then that can be construed the wrong way. Like, everybody does what they want. No, but it's more of an environment where you don't feel the tension and scared. You ever feel scared? Like, I don't know if I'm asking my mom because she may say, or I don't know. So you don't even, you hold back. There's so much tension there. But you start to create an environment where it's like, no, this is the person that I can feel the most free with, and I can have this conversation with, or I can ask, or I can talk, or I can express my emotions and my feelings. But do be prepared that sometimes it does get a little awkward, but I rather it's with me and not with someone who may steer them the wrong way. All right. So whether it's about a snack, a friend issue, or something even bigger, let's just take a deep breath and really listen to our kids. They're really teaching us how to be the best version of ourselves for them. And I know that's what I want, to be a good mom, but not just a good mom or any good mom, to be a good mom for my kid and my children. And so remember, every day is an opportunity to learn something new from your kids. Like, school's in session, so get ready to take notes and don't take it for granted. It might just be the best lesson that you'll ever learn. Well, I do thanks. Um, I do thanks. No, I thank you for joining me today. And until next time, definitely keep embracing your beautiful journey of motherhood and leadership, and doing it in love. Thanks again for tuning in. And as always, if you love this episode, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you would like to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Also, motherhood is more fun when you have friends to join. Leadership is even more fun because it is lonely at the top. So share this episode with a mom friend or a leader friend, that you know will benefit. But until next time, peace. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, and share with a mom or someone that you feel this information would be extremely helpful for. Then head over to Instagram and follow me on my Instagram account at TL Collaborative, at Dr. T. Wiggins. As always, stay thriving.